Okay, well, I have a couple of topics that I'm going to be training on this morning. And the first one is building relationships and trust. And I believe this is one of the most important things that we get to do in this business is build relationships. You know, Mary Kay taught us that this business is P&L, but that does not stand for profit and loss. It stands for people and love. And so this happens in areas with our customers. We build relationships with your team members that you bring on, with your director, with your national. Relationships are so important, and taking time to invest in building them is so important. You know, Mary Kay Ash said that everybody wears a sign around their neck that says, make me feel important. And I believe when that is our mission, when that is our focus to make women feel special and important, that's how we build that trust. When we have their best interests in mind, that helps build trust. So let me give you a couple of examples. The first thing is your customers. How do we build relationships with them? Well, the first thing is we take time with them. We take our time with them. We have their best interests. We're honest with them, you know? So if they put on a lipstick shade and it just doesn't look great, that we're honest with them, that we say, you know what, that's not my favorite one. Let's try this one on again. You know, we're being honest. We're not just trying to sell products. We're really trying to customize and make it special for them, and that helps to build the relationships. And if you did see, thanks to my incredible unit, I was in the Applause magazine, and it was talking about customer service. And one of the things that I said was, you know, I really believe that sometimes we are to reach out to our customers with no expectation of a sale or anything, but really just, hey, how are you? Getting to know their families, getting to know their why and their purpose. And you know, that's so important, because when we do that, when we just truly build that relationship with them, then they do want to help us and they do want to continue to support us. Writing little notes to them. You know, I love to put little notes in their bag with when I'm delivering product that says, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for supporting my small business, for supporting my dream. Taking that extra step with our customers, I believe anytime we have a big goal or something that we're working on, you know, they're really ready and excited to help us because we've built that relationship and they know that they can trust us and they're excited to be our customers. And I think the last piece of that is just really giving good customer service, that you are stocked with products on your shelf, that when they order, they're getting those products right away, that you are just giving them that instant satisfaction of, I know that when I order from Lauren, that I'm not going to have to wait, that I'm going to get my product. She's going to take good care of me. She has what I need. And I think that's so important to build that trust with them too, because that's going to get them excited to keep supporting you and your business. With your team members, let's talk about building relationships with your team members. You know, I believe that no matter what kind of relationship we have, it's still going to break down to the third. 1/3 are going to be on their way out, 1/3 are going to be hobby consultants, and 1/3 are going to be your go-getters. So that means if you're a brand new red jacket, yay, it's so exciting. But you have to realize that 1/3 is still gonna be in effect. But here's what I know about building relationships. When we really value people and care about people, and we have their best interests at heart, and we care to get to know them and get to know their passion and get to know their why, then even if they leave sometimes this business, number one, they still have a really great feeling about Mary Kay. And two, sometimes they come back. Sometimes it's just not the right time for them in their life, but they will come back. And I've seen that. In my 5.5, almost 6 years of business, I've seen women come back. Why? Because I've taken time to build that relationship with them and they trust me. They trust me that I have their best interests at heart. And that goes with when I'm talking to them about their first initial purchase too, which your sales director, hi Lisette, which your sales director should be doing for you right now and helping you with. But that's something that, you know, you want to build that trust with them in the beginning and build that relationship with them, spend time with them, get to know their kids, get to know their families, get to know their why. And then let's talk about building relationships with your director and your national sales director, because I believe that's so important too. You know, when we have that trust, then we believe that they can help us get to that next place. But that again takes time. It takes time to build relationships and to invest in one another. And the other thing is, you know, when you have that trust, then you just really are excited to keep building your business. And the other thing too sometimes we have to have hard conversations. And I just want to say this because this was something at first I wasn't really comfortable with, if somebody hurt me, whether it didn't matter who it was, I would just kind of keep it in and I would internalize it and I would just feel sticky or yucky or whatever. But I realized that sometimes we have to have those hard conversations and not wait and just say, hey, can we talk in private? And, I just really didn't like this. Can you help me understand maybe how I can do something different or whatever? Because I believe when we do that and we're able to have those hard conversations, sometimes we're building that relationship, we're building trust. Because with any relationships, sometimes, you guys, there's going to be bumps, just like anything. I mean, if you're married, you know that. But it's those conversations and being willing to say, I care about you enough that I want to work on this and I want it to get better. Because I believe when you have a great relationship with your director or your national sales director, then we can do such big things because we have that trust and that support and that love. And so it's a trickle down effect. But I believe that goes back to make everyone feel important. Make everyone feel important, and people and love. That's what this business is about. And when you're building strong, healthy relationships, you are so happy in your business. So that's a little bit. I know Jamie Bittner is going to be training on that next week too, but I just wanted to give you a little insight on that. The next thing is closing the sale individually to get the agreement on the spot, or just really closing that sale with power and excitement, with confidence. Okay. So I want to say that at first, when I started my business, even though I was trained to do the individual close, I didn't. Nope. I did a great skincare class. I felt like I did everything to the best of my ability. And I thought that just giving them catalogs was going to be good because I did such a good job. So they obviously were going to want everything. And all I needed to do was give them a sales slip and they were going to fill it all out. Well, of course, some of you are laughing because you know that there is no truth to that. And there's a reason that we do the individual close. In fact, there's lots of reasons. And so once I did it wrong and realized that when we do that, we're so limiting ourselves and we're limiting our customers. And a lot of the time, one person's going to say, hey, where's the lipstick and mascara page? Let me go to that. That's really why I was here tonight. And then the next person sitting next to her is like, yeah, that's really what I was looking for too. So you're going to sell a bunch of little small ticket items when we do that. So when we meet and we close individually, we get to really connect. It's that relationship. We get that individual time. I believe that I owe it to my customers, to my people who are at the party, to connect with them individually. Sorry, I was getting feedback for a second. To connect with them and to really ask them the questions to see what's best for them, that we can customize their skincare needs. And so I want you to remember that you are in control, And when you have a well-coached party, so when you've already built that connection with your hostess and you've already told her, I'm going to need a separate place to be meeting with everybody just to respect their privacy and to make sure that they had a good time. When you've already done that, then she's expecting that. But let's say you didn't do a well-coached party and you're there, you still want to make sure that you do that. And so when you get there, the first thing you want to say is, can I have a space that I will be able to meet with everybody individually, just because I want to respect everybody's needs and I want to just ask them a couple of quick questions. And then she'll do that. I have had some pushback before, I'll be honest, and maybe some of you have too, where they'll say, no, we don't have to do that. We're all comfortable with each other. We can all just order. That you would realize and remember you're in control. And so you say, you know what, that's totally fine. I get that. But I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't meet with everybody individually, and my director would be not happy with me. So if it's okay, we're still going to meet individually. And then at the end, once I've done my table close, you're looking for the most excited person, the one who had all of the questions, or she just was like oohing and ahhing the whole time about her face. And you're going to say, okay, Susie, why don't you come with me first? And you get your stuff and you start walking and you go to that place. Because why do you take the most excited person? Well, what happens when she comes back? When she comes back and sits down, the first thing that the person sitting next to her is going to say is, what did you get? And if she was the most excited, there's a good chance that she's going to be a new beauty consultant, or that she's going to get the ultimate set, or she's going to get some skincare. And so I love love the individual clothes. And sometimes if you're in a small space, you're really going to have to be creative with where that is. But listen, I've met if it was an apartment, which I've done before, and there was just really no other room, it was like one room, I stepped right outside the door and put 2 little chairs. So you just sometimes have to be creative, but there's always a place and a way to do that. So let me take you to the place now where we're in the individual clothes. And I've showed the set sheet, and I want to show you what I use. This is just what has worked for me. I love it. I haven't deviated from it because I've had great success. So this is the one that has the incredible deals. And then on the back is the starter kit, the brand new starter kit. And so I've been using this set sheet for a long time, and I've had a lot of success. The company has a really, really great set sheet that comes in your starter kit that you can absolutely use. But what I love is that this has the starter kit on the back. And I think it's really important that we show a picture of the starter kit because there's so many wonderful things in there that I feel like they really need to see that picture. And so at the table close, I'm doing all of the questions that I need to do, but then I'm pulling them individually. And here's where I'm going to start. So I want to be lower than her. And so maybe that's sitting on the floor. Maybe that's just slouching down a little bit in my chair. And there's a chair and a space for her. And I'm going through these questions. Now, I know a lot of you have been trained regularly on these, so you know them, but that just means a little check for you. Like, okay, good, I got this. But my question for you is, are you doing it? So I'm sitting down, Susie Q's across from me, and I'm saying, okay, Susie, thank you so much for coming tonight. Did you have fun? Yeah, I had fun. And how does your skin feel? And I'm touching my face because she's touching her face. Oh, it feels great. It feels absolutely great. Good. So taking a look at this set sheet, if everything were free, if everything were totally free, what would you want to take home with you? And at this point, you guys, she's going to tell me what she wants. Typically, sometimes women say free, everything. I would take everything. But sometimes women go to exactly what they're going to buy. So she would say, I would get the Pleasantly Pampered set. I love the satin hands. And I say, okay. So if she did not say that she would want the skincare for free or everything, then my next question is, what did you think of the skincare? Give me your honest opinion, your honest feedback of the skincare. And she's saying, well, of course, I loved it. I would absolutely take it if it were free. And I say, oh, okay. And then I flip it over to the back and I say, okay, you saw what I did tonight, and I promise you're not going to hurt my feelings. Would you ever consider doing what I do for extra money? And she's going to say yes, no, or maybe. Okay. Let me tell you first, little insert. Why do I ask everybody? Well, ladies, I believe that every woman deserves to be asked and wants to be chosen. And I know that I wasn't asked at my first appointment, and I wasn't the likely candidate. I really wasn't. But I wanted to be asked. And I remember thinking, like, what's wrong with me? Like, I wasn't going to say yes, but I still wanted to know why I wasn't asked, why I wasn't chosen. So I believe that we ask everybody and we allow them to make their decision. Even if it's to say, no, I would never, that's okay. At least you've asked. And so I don't deviate from that question. So anyways, I said, you saw what I did tonight. I promise you won't hurt my feelings. Would you ever consider doing what I do for extra money? Let's say she says, yeah, actually I would. And I say, okay, can we get you started right now? I can pull up the agreement. All you do is fill out this agreement and your starter kit's going to be in 3 to 5 business days. And she'll say, yep, let's do it. You guys, that happens. So if you're thinking in your mind, I have never closed somebody on the spot before, it happens. My first thing I would ask you to think about is, are you asking the question? Are you asking them if they'd ever consider doing what you do for extra money? Because sometimes I think we say, would you ever sell Mary Kay? That does not sound appealing to most women because selling doesn't sound fun. But you saw what I did tonight. Would you ever consider doing what I do for extra money? Because you've made it look easy, right? You've made it look fun. And so she says, yes, I'm getting that agreement. I'm pulling up my phone, having my laptop, or having a paper agreement that's there that you can get it filled out. Because if you say, okay, great. Well, I'll get back to you in a couple of days. Guess what might happen? She might lose that excitement. She might start getting thoughts in her head, which we're going to talk about here a little later. She might start, she might talk to her husband, and her husband's like, absolutely terrible idea. Don't do it. So you just never know. So I really think that we need to get them, if they're excited, if they're ready, we need to say, okay, let's get you started now. Let me pull up. All you have to do is fill this out. And in the event that she says, oh, well, I'm not ready to do it tonight, then I say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and send you an email invite. Is that okay? Just put in your email address, your phone number, your name, and then the ball's in your court. So this link is good for 2 weeks, and we're going to get together between now and when that link expires, and we're going to talk a little bit more. But that means if you go home tonight and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to do it, then you already have that. So does that sound good? So making sure that you're sending that email link, don't let her leave without that, because then it's already there for her, and you've already done that next setup. Like, hey, we're going to have to get together to do that. All right. So you can sign people on the spot. We do that pretty regularly in the GLAM unit. At least that's what we're working for and working towards. And so you just have to ask the question. Well, let's say she says maybe. If she says maybe, my next question is, what would hold you back? What would hold you back? And then she's going to give you one of the objections, which we're not going to go through all of them today. But you have to get good at overcoming their objections. You have to believe in what you're saying. So if she says, I'm just going to use the time one, because let's face it, we get that a lot. I don't have time. And I say, you know what? I totally understand. When I started my business, I was teaching full-time, planning my wedding, doing a master's degree. I was so busy, but I found little pockets of time that I could work, and I was successful. If we could find 2 half-an-hour windows of time in your week, and I could teach you what to do in those times, is this something you can consider doing? Oh, well, yeah. Okay, so what else would hold you back? And sometimes she says, nothing, let's do it. And then again, that agreement, you're going to that place. So get good at overcoming objections. We have common ones that come up regularly. Time, money, I don't know anybody, I don't use a lot of makeup. So get good, work with your director on how to overcome those so that it feels natural. Not that when she says that objection, you go into, oh, she's right, she doesn't have time, she doesn't. No, but you have to be able to say, or maybe your story was not about time, but you know mine was. And you can say, you know, I know a director when she started who was teaching full-time, planning her wedding and doing a master's degree, and she was so busy. But, you know, going into that objection. So don't worry if it's not your story, because my story wasn't that I didn't have the money, but I know somebody who was, right? And so I can pull their story and say, well, this is what this person did in this situation. So just really getting good and confident about that. And I believe that the more that you do this, the more confident that you get. All right, so let's continue. Let's say she says, nope, no way, never, I would never do this. I say, okay, not a problem. I promised you wouldn't hurt my feelings. Feelings are still good. We're good. And then I go back to the other page. And I say, okay, what do you want to get started with tonight? What do you want to get started with tonight? And she's going to tell you. And then after she tells you, you're going to write up her sales slip and you say, okay, now you are entitled to a second appointment with me. And at that appointment, we can focus on the eyes, the cheeks, or the lips. What are you most interested in learning about? I'm most interested in learning about eyes, how to do a smoky eye. Okay, great. My calendar's already there. My date book's there. Okay, so I have this date or this date. You're giving 2 options. What's best for you? And she's telling me, and I say, okay. And when we do this appointment, it can be just the 2 of us if you want, or it can be you, me, and free, which means if you want to invite a couple of your girlfriends, just like Sally did tonight, then you can take advantage of my hostess program and get some stuff for free. Which do you prefer? Oh, well, yeah, I definitely want some stuff for free. Absolutely, because I know you said if the skincare were free, you would take that. So let's do that. Okay, so I'm booking that second appointment, and then I'm asking if she didn't decide to start her business, or if she was interested and maybe needed a little bit more information, then I'm going into, part of my leadership training too is having women listen to some business information and give me some feedback. Would you be okay if I sent you a video? Just a short video that has a little bit more information about Mary Kay, and you could watch that for me and give some honest feedback. That would really help me with my training. And she's going to say 9 times out of 10, she's going to say yes. And so you can go ahead and send that to her before she even leaves your little space. Or if there's a lot of people there and you need to keep things moving, then you can just make a note on her profile card that you need to send her that video. And then you guys, don't be afraid to get your director involved. If you feel like you have somebody that really, really, really was sharp and would be interested, and you just don't think that, you're able to do that, get your director involved. She wants to help you. Set up that career chat with her, because sometimes, I was hearing all of the information about Mary Kay through my consultant, who did a great job. She was a great consultant. But it wasn't until I talked on the phone with Kim McClure that I decided to start my business. And it's not that my consultant did anything different or wrong. It was just I needed another layer. And so sometimes we have to take that next step and that next layer. Okay, so that's the individual close. Again, you're in control. You're in charge. You are pulling people with you. You are sitting lower than them. You are asking the questions with confidence and passion. You know, the whole word for the month and bangle for the month is passion. Pass on. Pass your excitement on. And I believe that happens during the skincare class, but it also happens in the individual close. And the more confident you get, the better results you're going to get. How do we get better? By practicing. So if you don't have a lot of skincare classes on your date book, a lot of parties on your date book, that you would say to your director, hey, can I practice on you? Can we get together and just role play this? Because you'll get better. You will get better the more that you do that. But remember, did you have fun tonight? How does your skin feel? If everything on the set sheet were free, what would you want to take home with you? I promise you're not going to hurt my feelings. You saw what I did tonight. Would you ever consider doing what I do for extra money? And if she says yes or maybe, help her get that agreement on the spot. Then you're flipping back. Okay, what did you want to take home with you tonight? Or what did you want to get started with tonight? Whichever one you like better. Okay, you're entitled to a second appointment with me. And then you can book the second appointment. And the last question is asking, I'm moving into a leadership position with Mary Kay, and I need women's honest feedback about our marketing plan. Would you be willing to listen to some information for me and give me your honest feedback? It would really help me. So get good at those questions. Have them maybe on a note card right next to you. It is okay, you guys. It makes our job appear easier when we have simple steps that we're going to follow. The other thing is, if you forget a question or if you're feeling a little nervous because the woman who's coming in is super confident and intimidating, you're not going to deviate from it, because you're going to look at that card and you're going to say, this is my job. This is what I am to do. And so I'm just going to read from the card. And you read it and you don't feel silly about that. You feel like I'm getting better and I'm learning and I'm growing. And you'll get to a place where you don't need that card anymore, absolutely at all, but you'll get better. But it is so vitally important to do the individual close. A national sales director whose name I can't remember said that if you don't do an individual close, you might as well have not even gone to the party. Ouch. That seems like pretty intense, but I will share with you from my experience, I believe that to be true. We are taking away the relationship. We are taking away the connection. We are taking away the privacy. We are taking away that individual time where we get to really get to know them a little bit better. We get to make sure they had a good time. We get to see what their skincare needs are. Sometimes people have things that are issues with their skin that they are not comfortable sharing in front of a group because it's like uncomfortable for them. So we want to make sure that we're respecting that, and we are doing that individual close. We are doing that individual time with them. Okay, so if you have any questions about that, or if you have never seen this particular set sheet, closing sheet, again, check with your director, because what works for me and my unit might not be the same as what your director is asking you to use. But this is what works. And if you need this posted, I'd be happy to put both of these in the group so that you could print them out and have them laminated. All right. So we are moving on to guests to meetings, getting guests to meetings. And why would we even do that? Or events, because I'm sure that there are events that you can take advantage of too. Sometimes, like we talked about, layers are important. Women need layering. And so they might have seen what you did at a skincare class and had fun, but maybe they were like, but I don't know if I could ever do this. I really am not sure. So bringing them to a meeting gives them a bigger picture of what we do in Mary Kay, allows them to connect with other women, and allows them to get excited and see what we do. Same with events. Now, most directors have guest opportunities every week, every single week. And how many times are you sitting there thinking like, oh man, I should have invited somebody tonight. Or maybe you did. Maybe you did invite somebody, but they didn't come. So I would tell you, first of all, when you want a guest to an event or a meeting, you need to send out 10 invites. 10 invites to maybe get one guest. That sounds like a lot, but really it's true. And so I want to tell you that sometimes it's your wording. Sometimes it's what we're saying, and you want to say the right words. I remember Lisa Allison sharing that the reason that she decided to start Mary Kay was she was asked to be a face model A face model. Who doesn't want to be a face model? That just feels good. If somebody asked me to be a face model, I would say absolutely, when and where, because that's flattering. That makes me feel like I'm worthy of being a model. It feels good. So if you're just saying something like, hey, we're having a fun guest event, do you want to come? If you're a busy woman, working woman, like I was when I started, I didn't have time for that. Debbie invited me probably 5 times to a meeting. But when you say, would you be a face model for me? I need to bring a face model. Could you do that? I would have made time to fit that in my schedule. So the first thing I want to share is, are you flattering them, or are you offering something? If you're somebody that really doesn't get a lot of guests to events, you might need to offer a little bit more. I've been trained that an area that you're weak, you have to offer a little bit more. So if that's booking the second appointment, offer more. If that's getting guests to events, offer more. What if you said, I will have a gift for you when you get there? I need a face model, and I would love for that to be you, and I'll have a gift waiting for you when you get there. And sending that out to 10 people, I guarantee that you will start getting guests there. And I have watched, I'm just going to give a shout out to my adorable, her name's Christy Stanislaw, and she is one of the most consistent consultants that bring guests to meetings. Consistent consultants that bring guests to meetings. And she just got into her red jacket, but she's got more than 3 team members. She's probably got 5 to 7 at this point, and just waiting on them to get active. You guys, she brings guests to meetings and events every single week. Every single week. And what that does is that allows them to see a bigger picture of Mary Kay. Your director is going to be doing the sharing, the marketing. And so it just gives women another layer, and it gives them that opportunity to see how excited and how fun we are. And most times they'll sign. The last 4 meetings, we have had at least 2 new consultants sign at the meeting or the event. And so take advantage of that. Take advantage. Or if your director doesn't have guest makeovers every week, find a meeting that does, and not that you would switch meetings. No. But you could take advantage of that. You still go to your weekly meeting with your sales director, and find a director who has a meeting that you can bring guests to, and you're going to do 2, because you can learn and earn at the same time. It makes total sense. It makes total sense. So if you had one of those people in the individual close who was interested but needed more information, you want to bring them, you want to invite them, you want to offer something, because it makes a huge difference when they see what we do, when they see our Mary Kay culture, when they walk in the door and they see the love and they see the positivity. I mean, it's contagious, and women may not know that that's what we get every week. I know when I went to my first meeting, I was like, whoa, like these women are happy, because I was a teacher, and I was in a building that people were moping around. It's Monday, when's Friday, when's summer? And you go into these meetings and it's like, whoa. So you can't help but feel good. So try saying that you need a face model, or that your director has challenged you to get 2 guests to this next event. So you're offering a free blank, if that she'll be your guest. So you might need to offer something, but why not try asking for face models? Because think about it. Wouldn't you feel flattered? Wouldn't you feel important if somebody asked you that? So make it a point to really capitalize and utilize the opportunities that we have. And that is bringing guests to meetings and bringing guests to events. And you're going to have to invite 10 to get 1. So if you want 5 guests, yep, that's a lot of invites, but you can do it, because we know the women. And we have people that we've facialed in the past that maybe need a checkup from the neck up. Why not invite them? So why don't you make a list today? That's my challenge for you. Make a list today of women that you've facialed, because I believe that you should be meeting with them first before that is their first appointment, that you already connected with them, you already met with them, and then you're inviting them. Now, sometimes that doesn't always happen. Sometimes it works that that's their first experience with Mary Kay, and that's okay. That's totally okay. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. We just want you to get people there. But I think it's great once they've already had that experience with you, they've already met you, they've already connected with you, and now they're coming for a second experience. And that's going to help them make their decision sometimes of, yep, I want to do this. So invite women. I think the reason that a lot of people aren't getting guests to events or meetings is we're not asking, or we're not saying the right words. So sometimes we have to be willing to say, you know what? It's time to pivot. It's time to change what I'm saying a little bit, okay? All right, and then the last topic that I'm going to talk about is limiting beliefs. And Terry touched on this a little bit today. And if you know anything about my story, every huge shift that I've had in my business have been because I'm realizing that I have limiting beliefs and I'm flipping them. And I'm realizing now that I have some that I have to flip. It's crazy how it doesn't matter where you are on the career path, they will creep in. They will absolutely creep in. And so what are limiting beliefs? I believe they're pounds that weigh us down, that are lies, that are not truth, that sometimes are straight from Satan, and sometimes they're because of lies that we have been told in the past or lies that we have felt from our past experiences. And so a limiting belief is a negative thought or a lie that you're telling yourself. Well, I want to take you back to when we had our Nemacolin. This was, I think, 3 years ago with Heidi Gelser, when National Sales Director Heidi Gelser was there. And she was teaching a director class, and she said, okay, so I want you to write your goal at the top of your paper. Like, what is your burning desire, your goal, your passion? Like, what do you really want right now? And I remember writing Cadillac unit, so big. So I just want you really quickly, I want you to write down your goal. What is your non-negotiable goal? What is the burning desire, the passion that you have? What is your goal? Write it down on a piece of paper. And then I remember she said, okay, now I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to write down all of the lies that come in of why you're not going to earn this or why you're not going to achieve this. And I remember sitting there like, this exercise is for everybody else because I don't have any. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm good. Well, we had a little bit of time, so I was like, all right, let me just write down, and then I started writing, and I'm like, wow, I had no idea I thought this at all. And so the first thing I'll say is, we're not going to do this right now, but I want you to write down all the lies that come in after you think about that goal. And maybe it's becoming a sales director by June 30th. And I want you to write down the lies that come in, because I did not realize that I had limiting beliefs. So I wrote it down, and I wrote, women who earn a Cadillac lose their Cadillac. Women who earn a Cadillac are selfish because they get to drive the car. Women who earn the Cadillac have car payments to make. You guys, these were lies that I had no idea I even thought. They weren't on my conscious, they were in my subconscious, because I had heard a story in the past about a director or whatever who had experienced this. Well, I had to stop right there. And that's the big part of it. Okay, so once you get those lies out, that's step one. Step two is to flip every single lie into truth. That's step two. Step three, you have to put the truth into your brain every single day, multiple times a day, because we default to what our subconscious remembers, like Terry was talking about earlier. So it's so important to get the truth in, to program the brain in a different way, to program the truth. So for example, the first one said, the Cadillac is selfish because I'm the only one that gets to drive it. Somebody had said to me when I was talking about earning the Cadillac, they said, well, does everybody get to drive one? And I remember feeling so defeated because I had to tell her no. And this was somebody super important. To flip it, the Cadillac is not selfish. It is a representation of the women of excellence in my unit who deserve to be represented as a Cadillac unit. Me earning the Cadillac helps them believe that they can earn their first car or a Cadillac in the future. It is the most unselfish thing that I can do, is to rise in my excellence. So do you see the difference? The Cadillac is selfish. Maybe you're thinking directorship is selfish because it's about me. It is not about you. It is about the lives that are going to be changed when you step into your greatness. So the first thing is your goal. Identify the lies, get them out. And sometimes this brings you to tears because you have no idea how much yuck is in you. And then afterwards you flip it, and you have to flip it. If you just let that yucky stuff on the paper and you don't do anything about it, your brain is going to keep putting that in, keep putting that in, keep putting that in. It's a vicious hamster wheel, and it will not stop until you flip it and until you believe it. That was the first shift in my business when I went from Equinox to a Cadillac vision. Equinox, and there, I was happy with an Equinox, I really was, but I knew that my women weren't being represented the way that they should be, and I had to flip that. And if it's to be, it's up to me. I needed to lead first. I needed to believe it first. I needed to get the lies out first. So it's so important, and it's not something to be taken lightly. It's something to say, oh my goodness, I've got to be in control of this. And guess what? Once you program it every day, you begin to believe it. Your brain begins to believe the truth, and then it makes a difference. I think sometimes you've identified the lies, you've flipped to the truth, but you're not reading them every day, and you're not programming them every day, which means that you're not believing them. And when you're not believing them, nothing changes. Again, you're on that hamster wheel. You're on that wheel. So what if today you wrote your goal, you write the lies, you flip every single one, and I mean a total flip. And then you start talking yourself, you start talking them to yourself. You start reading them. You start believing them, because we have to believe it. But we're not going to believe it until we keep reminding. And Terry was also talking about putting the word by, B-Y. So how are you going to do that? Because sometimes we're identifying the lie and we're flipping it, but we don't really believe it. So for example, if you were saying, I'm just going to pick, I am skinny, right? I am skinny. And you flip it and you say, I am becoming skinnier by making good choices, by exercising, by, fill in the blank. Okay. So you have to have an action plan to support that as well. So how are you going to do that so that you really start believing it? But it makes a huge difference. And I think about where we are right now. And I know that some of you had a dream to cross that stage June 30th. And if you're new, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not there yet. And that's okay. Maybe your goal is to be in your red jacket. Maybe it's to be a senior consultant. Maybe it's to be a star consultant on March 15th, which is right around the corner. It doesn't matter what that goal is that's important to you. You have to identify the lies and flip it and then put it into your mind, because I believe when you do that, you will be so much more powerful than you could ever imagine. And it becomes your truth. It becomes your reality, and it becomes real. And I believe also that every couple of months we have to check back in with ourselves and see where we are, because new lies will creep in. Lies that you maybe didn't even know that you would think, or fears that you maybe would not think, but it happens because we're human. And I think it's just so important to take some time with yourself to identify, to reflect, and then to say, okay, this goal is important to me. This is why. And so I am going to put those words of joy, those words of excellence, those words of truth into my brain, and that's what you're going to get. And I believe that's going to be the difference maker when we talk about where you're going to be on June 30th, because it does make a difference. So recognize those extra pounds, those limiting beliefs that you have on you. Be willing to say, I am going to knock them out. I am going to knock them out. I remember Kim at career conference had pink boxing gloves about, I am going to punch those lies out. I'm going to get mad. I'm going to get motivated and determined that they are not going to hold me back, because some of you have had the goal of director for years. And I would say that most of you are very overtrained. You know exactly what to do in this business. You truly do. But there are limiting beliefs holding you back, and they are the only thing holding you back. And when you can break through those, then you can be unstoppable, and you could change lives, and you can make a difference, and you can make an impact. But it's going to be up to you to identify, to flip, and then to say them. Again, if you miss that saying them part, then you're missing a huge step. Nothing's going to change. So I'm going to ask you to take time today, and if you wouldn't mind, share your truth statements with your director. She wants to know what it is, because she wants to support you in that. And, I love that Kim, when we were working towards Cadillac, every single day she sent me my affirmation statement. Every single day she sent me my affirmation statement. And whatever I was doing, I would stop, I would read it, and I would start to believe it. And that created the shift for me, because I realized that, oh my gosh, these lies that I didn't even know I had. Because remember, I was sitting in that like, oh my gosh, this exercise is for everyone else. It's not for me. I have a good headspace, but I didn't. because I didn't realize that I was lying to myself and had thoughts in the subconscious, not my conscious, but my subconscious. And not only was that affecting my business, but it was affecting my unit's business. They wanted me to rise. You guys, some of you who want that dream of director, it has nothing to do with you. The lives that are going to be changed. You know, my mom shared her I story for the first time this past week at our meeting because we celebrated 5 years of being a unit. And I think about my mom was my number 10. She was number 10 to sign up. And she said, Lauren, I will never do this. But if you need one more person, I will do it. Okay, well, had I not had that goal, had I not set that goal 4 months after being in business, you guys, I was not in Mary Kay very long when I made that decision. Had I not set that goal, my mom would not be in Mary Kay. I could guarantee that. She said never, 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 but I had a big goal. So when you have a big goal, it has nothing to do with you. If you know my mom, which most of you do, you can't imagine Mary Kay without her. She has the biggest heart. This business, I believe, was created for someone like her. So your goal, directorship, is not about you. It's about the lives that are going to be changed when women step up to help you, which has nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. So I just want to challenge you today. What is your dream? What is your dream? What is your goal? And then identify the lies that are there. Give yourself time to process them, to write them out, and then flip them. And I might even say burn them, rip them up, put them in the shredder. Once you flip them, get rid of them. Don't look at them anymore because they're not the truth. They are a lie. Satan is a liar. He really is. So we need to plug into the truth. And so that, accompanied with your miracle morning, when you're maybe reading and doing your Bible study in the morning, or you're reading something positive and you're putting those together, you will be unstoppable. I believe that every single woman in our McClure National area, unless you're brand new, you are overtrained. You are overtrained. We have had the best training from the best national. I believe that the limiting beliefs are not something to take lightly. It's not something to say, I've done that before, because you probably have. But I'm sure that maybe one of those steps was missing, unless you're right where you want to be right now. And I'm guilty. So I'm looking at myself saying, okay, I've got some limiting beliefs that I need to work through, because it happens at every level on the career path. Even when you're winning and you're successful, lies still come in. New level, new devil, right? Because there are new things that start to come up. So when you can identify that and get rid of it, then it makes a difference and lives will be changed forever, forever. So Kim, that was my training for today. And I appreciate you asking me, and I hope that this helped somebody here this morning.
Oh, thank you, Lauren. I know that it did. Every time that you train, especially when you train on limiting beliefs, it is so, it touches my core. It's such a deep level. And I know that it is the number one thing that holds people back, just
Yes.
like you said. You know, the number one thing, the 6 inches of what we tell ourselves. And
Right.
Are we playing not to lose, or are we playing to win? You
Right.
know, and when we allow the limiting beliefs to control our what we're thinking about, we're playing not to lose, you
Right.
know, instead of playing to win. And whatever we think about, we will bring about.
Yep.
And so thank you. Thank you for your excellence. You know, I had a great thought when you were talking about the closing questions, that we should just print those up and put those on the app, so that it's in the new consultant training part, so that every new consultant can just have those. And at the very worst, she could pull up her app and open up her app and see the questions right there, those simple questions, just as an extra tool to be able to have. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, appreciate your leadership. Congratulations on 5 years as a unit. Yeah. So thank you, everybody, for being on the call, being as part of our Pacesetters. This is week 3. Next week is the last week of training. Let's make it the most powerful week. Like, what would be your best week ever that you have ever gotten in the number of bookings or in the number of sharing appointments? Last week, I challenged you guys to do 10 sharing appointments, and some of you did some. I didn't see anybody who did 10, But, let's get out the gate strong and just asking, using the same words that Lauren used today. I'm in a leadership training program. Would you be willing to listen to some information? I need people's opinions about our business. And I bet that they will. I totally bet that they will, especially people that are already your customers who love our products. So thank you so very much, Terry and Lauren, for trainings today. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Let's have a powerful start to March. Bye-bye. Now I got to figure out how to stop my recording. I think I can just leave, but you can leave, Lauren. Okay, let's see. Nope, I'm just going to leave it here. Okay, bye.